Close your eyes and imagine standing at the foot of a tower, so tall it seems to kiss the sky. Or walking through a temple so breathtaking, it feels like God himself is watching. These aren't just stories from dusty pages of the Bible. They re-epic tales of human dreams, divine mysteries, and structures so incredible they still leave us speechless. Thousands of years ago, long before skyscrapers or computers, ancient builders created marvels that defy everything we know about engineering. From the Tower of Babel to Noah's Ark, these are the Bible's greatest architectural wonders. They're stories of faith, courage, and secrets we're still chasing today. So, grab a seat, open your heart, and let's step into a world where miracles and human grit built the impossible. This is going to be an unforgettable ride. The Tower of Babel, a dream that touched the heavens. Picture a vast desert plain in ancient Shinar, where the air hums with the sound of thousands working as one. Men and women, united by a single language, pour their hearts into a dream so bold it feels like a rebellion against the stars. They're building the Tower of Babel, a monument to their unity, their ambition, their audacity to reach for the heavens. Genesis 11:1-9 tells us this wasn't just a building, it was a cry to the universe. We can do anything, but God saw pride in their hearts. He scattered their languages, and the tower stood unfinished, a crumbling dream in the sand. Was this just a myth? Archaeologists say no. They point to the ziggurats of Mesopotamia, massive stepped pyramids that soared into the sky. One, called Etemenanki in Babylon, stood over 300 feet tall, a skyscraper of mud bricks, built without cranes or steel. Dr. Lena Moritz, who spent decades studying these ruins, describes standing at its base. You feel the weight of their ambition in every brick. This was humanity's first attempt to touch the divine. Can you imagine it? Thousands of hands shaping mud, baking it in the sun, stacking it layer by layer, each one a step closer to the sky. How did they do it? Mud bricks are fragile, crumbling under pressure. Yet, the Babylonians mastered symmetry and balance, creating a structure that stood for centuries. Engineers today are baffled without modern tools. Keeping a 300-foot tower stable was a miracle. Some say they used ramps and pulleys. Others think it was sheer human will. But the Bible tells us God wasn't pleased. He broke their unity, and the tower became a symbol of what happens when pride outshines purpose. Today, its story lives in art, books, even movies, reminding us of the power and danger of dreaming too big. What would you risk to touch the heavens? Herod's Temple, a king's gift to God. Now let's travel to Jerusalem, 20 BCE. A king named Herod the Great stands on a hill, dreaming of a temple that will outshine every wonder before it. This isn't just a place to pray, it's a statement of faith, power, and brilliance. Herod's Temple, built on the ruins of the modest Second Temple, was a masterpiece that left jaws on the floor. Gold-plated walls glowed in the sunrise, bronze fixtures gleamed, and courtyards buzzed like sacred cities. It was a place where heaven felt close, where every stone whispered devotion. The heart of it all was the Temple Mount, a 35-acre platform carved from Jerusalem's rugged hills. To make it, Herod's engineers hauled limestone blocks so massive they'd humble modern machines. One, the Western Stone, weighs 570 tons. Imagine moving that with just ropes and muscle. Dr. Elias Wren, an archaeologist who studied these stones, says, "We've measured, scanned, theorized, but we're still clueless. These builders were geniuses. How did they cut stones so precisely that a knife can't fit between them? How did they lift them without cranes? Underground, they carved secret tunnels, ritual baths, and chambers that still hide their secrets." Herod's temple was more than faith, it was politics. He built it to win his people's hearts and impress his Roman overlords. But its beauty was undeniable. The Western Wall, part of that massive platform, still stands, a sacred touchstone for millions. Every crack in those stones holds a prayer, a story, a piece of a world long gone. When you stand there, you feel it the weight of history, the echo of a king who dared to build for God. What would it feel like to walk those golden halls, knowing you are part of something eternal? Noah's Ark, a ship built on faith. Go back further, to a time when the world faced its end. Noah, a simple man chosen by God, was given a mission: build an ark to save life itself. Genesis 6-9 describes a ship unlike any other, 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, 45 feet high, with 3 decks and a side door. This wasn't a boat. It was a floating fortress, meant to carry Noah's family and every kind of animal through a flood that would drown the world. The Bible's details are so precise, it feels like a blueprint. Here's what's wild. Those measurements make sense. Modern ships use a similar 6-to-1 ratio to stay stable in storms. In 1993, South Korean engineers tested Noah's design and found it could handle 100-foot waves. A Dutch carpenter, Johan Hubers, even built a full-scale replica, 2,500 tons of pine and cedar, a wooden giant that brings the story to life. He wanted kids to touch it, to feel the nails and smell the wood, to believe. But think about it, building this with ancient tools? Cutting thousands of trees, shaping them without power saws, making a wooden ship watertight for months? It's mind-boggling. Then there's the logistics: feeding animals, managing waste, keeping air flowing. Some call it a myth, a symbol of hope. But flood stories appear in other cultures, like the Epic of Gilgamesh, and some scientists point to a massive Black Sea flood around 5600 BCE. Explorers still climb Mount Ararat, chasing clues in the snow. Whether it's real or not, Noah's Ark is a story of one man's faith, building the impossible to save everything he loved. Could you trust a divine plan that seemed so crazy? Jericho's walls, when faith shook the earth. Now, imagine standing before a city that laughs at invaders. Jericho, one of the oldest cities on earth, was a fortress with walls of mud brick, so thick they seemed eternal. But in Joshua 6, the Israelites, led by Joshua, didn't bring weapons. They marched for 6 days, blew trumpets, shouted, and miraculously, the walls collapsed. No siege, no battering rams, just faith and sound. It sounds like a fairy tale, but the ruins tell a different story. Archaeologists have found Jericho's crumbled walls, scorched earth, signs of sudden destruction. This was a real city, fortified to the hilt. And here's the twist: Jericho sits on a fault line. Some say an earthquake hit just as the Israelites shouted, making it feel like God himself tore the walls down. Could the sound of trumpets and voices weaken an already shaky structure? Scientists are skeptical, but vibrations can destabilize walls, and the Bible's details, like Rahab's house, built into the wall, match archaeological finds. Dr. Sarah Klein, an expert on Jericho, says the evidence is eerie. Something catastrophic happened here. The timing is debated. Some say the walls fell before Joshua's era, but the story's power is undeniable. It's about faith moving mountains, or in this case, walls. Standing in Jericho's ruins, you can almost hear the trumpets, feel the ground shake, and sense the moment when a miracle changed everything. What would it be like to witness a city fall to the power of belief? Solomon's Temple, the lost heart of a nation. Finally, let's step into Jerusalem, 10th century BCE, where King Solomon built a temple that was more than a building. It was Israel's soul. The Bible describes a sanctuary 90 feet long, lined with cedar from Lebanon, carved with flowers, and draped in gold. The Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant rested, was a sacred space where God's presence felt real. Massive bronze pillars, Yakin and Boaz, guarded the entrance, and a giant basin sat on 12 bronze oxen. This was beauty, faith, and engineering wrapped into one. The Phoenicians, master builders, brought skills we can't fully grasp. Casting tons of bronze without modern furnaces? Moving massive stones without machines? It's a mystery. Dr. Miriam Cohen, an archaeologist, says, the details in the Bible cedar imports, bronze basins, aren't fiction. This was real. But where is it now? No confirmed trace remains. The Temple Mount, where it stood, is too sacred for digging. Some say its ruins lie under the dome of the rock. Others think Herod's later temple erased it. Solomon's temple shaped history, inspiring Jewish worship, Christian theology, and even Islamic traditions. Its absence makes it more powerful a lost dream of the time when faith and beauty were one. Imagine standing in that golden hall, feeling the weight of a nation's prayers. What would it mean to build something so sacred it outlives you? The Tower of Babel, Herod's temple, Noah's Ark, Jericho's walls. Solomon's temple, these aren't just ancient stories. They're proof of what humans can do when faith, grit, and genius collide. Were they built with lost secrets, guided by God? Or just the stubborn will to create something eternal? We may never know the full truth, but standing in their shadows, you feel it, a spark of wonder, a pull to dream bigger. These marvels remind us that even thousands of years ago, people reached for the impossible, just like we do today. So, what do you think? Were these builders touched by the divine, or were they just masters of their craft? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if this journey moved you, and subscribe for more stories that light up the past. Thanks for coming along. Let's keep chasing the mysteries together.